Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews, part 3 continued. Without further ado, welcome back to the third episode of Gargoyles Awakening, part 3. If you missed the first part of the review, go read it or go watch the last episode. Ready? Episode 3's second half tables the concerns about the evil rival corporation, Cyberbiotics, stealing trade secrets from Xantos Enterprises. Now we're following the Gargoyles as they explore the new city and new era. Remember, spoilers are 2020 moments. Greg Weisman comments are Ask Greg. From Ask Greg are according to Greg. Beautiful picture of the Statue of Liberty. Liberty, the Gargoyles are finally free of their stone sleep. We open on a beautiful sunset that paints the Statue of Liberty in pinks and golds. Gargoyles has amazing artwork for weather and for grand shots of the city. It makes the show feel more real. You know the creators cared about the quality of their work. They also respected the viewer, giving them a spectacular product. For the first 5 episodes, they did use one of the Japanese animation companies, and they did very, very good work. There's Goliath waking up. That's a good picture. Wings outspread, flexing. I suppose waking up with a roar is a survival tactic to threaten anyone who waited to attack them as the sun set. The Gargs wake up with appropriate drama. The trio is off to explore. Goliath is hesitant, but he understands the need to learn about the new world. Another beautiful cityscape from above. It's a brave new world out there. And there's the building they decided to meet on. As a cop, Elisa can probably get to the top of most buildings. As promised, Elisa Maza greets Goliath on top of a building a few blocks from the Erie building. She arrives fashionably late, as he doesn't trust her to come alone. Sorry, he does. He arrives fashionably late. She has come alone, though, so she either doesn't have any friends or she trusts him. Maybe she just thinks she can take him on. It's not as if she's shown good judgment in picking opponents that are on her level so far. Xantos. And there's Hudson. Well, old Graybeard. doesn't have a name yet. He's got Goliath's back, or he just wants to snoop. Graybeard hops down from the roof after he sees Goliath is fine. They reiterate that they don't trust humans. Elisa is still stuck on the "we don't have names" comment. Why this takes the lion's share of her attention, I don't know. She insists that Graybeard needs a name. This is where the no-name concept breaks down. Also, why do you have to try and change their culture, Elisa? They're not humans. Leave them alone. Stop trying to change everybody and make them be New Yorkers. According to Greg, he admitted it didn't make as much sense as he'd wanted. It was really there just to show that the Garg ways are not human ways. There's other ways you can do that, but this is probably a simpler, quicker one, especially in a animated series that's kind of aimed at kids. See, Old and Grizzled counters that not everything needs a name. Does the sky need a name? Does the river? The sky has a name. It's the sky. As for the river, it's the river. That actually is a name. You can't tell me the Gargs never described land features. The Brown Mountain, for example, or the Long River, not the Winding River. Those are basically names. Elisa says the river is the Hudson. Old Dude relents and decides to be called Hudson as well. It's rather interesting that he gives in rather than just calling her a nutty human and flying off. It's as if he wants to keep her on their side. Wise. Or maybe he's a bit touched that after all these years a human finally decided he should have a name. Goliath has a name, after all. Guess it kind of depends on Hudson's opinion of humans. The Grand Tour. Yes, this trip is just business. No pleasure. Nope. He's got Elisa in her arms, and they both look really happy. While Hudson returns to watch TV, guard the castle, Goliath flies off with Elisa. She takes him on the grand tour. He doesn't care about seeing the best hot dog stand in Manhattan, though. He wants to see the dangers and threats. She is more optimistic about the city. There's Hudson. Hudson's sass is greater than yours. He knows all about business, too. Goliath brings up that there are no walls. He comes from an age when a wall meant safety. For thousands of years, walls have been the best way to stop attackers. Babylonians, Israelites, Chinese, Romans, Europeans, and many more owed much of their success to walls. The biggest threats were from outside. Elisa explains the threats are now from inside. Goliath's experience with the captain betraying his castle makes him agree. As the Chinese found as well, all it takes to negate a wall's benefit is to have someone open the gate. Once the enemy is inside, the game is theirs. 2020 moment. This half of the episode is here to lay the groundwork for what will become the clan's new mission by the end of the first season: protect the city. Back at the castle, Hudson and the dog Goyle are wandering the halls, places like the Starship Enterprise. Halls and more halls. They reach a tiny antechamber that contains a recliner, semi-couch, end table, and TV. There's no decor, other than Middle Ages servant quarters, meaning rock walls and a rug. 2020 moment. Yes, I'm doing one on a room. I have no idea why this room exists. I could hazard a guess that Xantos made it as a place to let the Gargs watch TV, but it's not really big enough to house them all comfortably. It's more likely he doesn't know it even exists at the moment. And I call it the room of requirement. Hudson always required a TV. We see the room through the clan's time in the castle as the only place they watch the TV. So maybe my first hazarded guess was right, or maybe it is the only place in the castle with a TV, other than Xantos' office. There's no reason to strew TVs all over the building, after all. It's the very same TV that Xantos uses in Thrill of the Hunt to interest the clan in the pack. What's more amusing is that now Fox uses it as her control center, so to speak. She watches the news about Fortress 2, then Skypes with Preston Vogel about his paid betrayal of her father. In the journey, the entire clan and House Xanatos watches the news. Could we maybe graduate to a room bigger than the master bathroom at this point? Maybe they did it just because they had the panels already painted. I don't know. Here's Hudson with the clicker. Anyone over the age of 50 looks at remotes like this. The show is so realistic. Hudson first freaks himself out by sitting back too far in the chair. Then he clicks on the TV, which for some reason is randomly set to MTV. I think the trio must have been here. He and Spot flee. What's interesting is that this scene is in the half of the episode that shows the clan learning about new threats. Yes, it's also a lot about understanding and discovering the modern world, but I can't help smiling at the thought of the TV and recliner being lumped with those threats. My feeling about the current MTV. There's Hudson running from it. 2020 moment. In Upgrade, Fox uses the TV ad to manipulate the Gargs to make her move against David in the real-world combat chess the two played. Oh, and there's Margot and Brendan, our favorite yuppies' first appearance. Back on the mean streets, we meet recurring characters Brendan and Margot. Marina Sirtis, who also voices Goliath's second-in-command, voices Margot. The yuppies took a shortcut through a bad part of the city that, of course, doesn't have cell service. Now their car breaks down. Thugs approach. They're mainly voiced by Jeff Bennett. Surprising, I know. And they're not from AAA. Here's the thugs that will be kind of recurring throughout here. Facing off with Brendan. Elisa sticks her head out of an alley, waves her badge, and warns them to stop. They don't care. They follow her into the alley, only to come face to roaring face, with Goliath. He doesn't kill them, but they'll think twice before trying to rob yuppies again. There's Elisa flashing her badge. This probably intimidates far fewer people than she thinks. And there's big old Goliath catching that, was that a pole? I don't know, pipe, I guess, that thug is trying to attack him with. I don't know what kind of crazy person is going to attack Goliath nowadays, or any days, especially when all you have is a pipe. Maybe he thought he was some guy in a costume. I mean, it is New York City, after all. Ever the optimist, Elisa thinks he'll be good for the city. Now, Elisa is fairly young, in her 20s, yet she's a detective. They don't just hand those ranks out like M&Ms, which makes me think she's a very perceptive and intelligent person. Or maybe she did a favor for the right person. Okay, I'm making the last one up because she's a protagonist and she's getting on my nerves at times. Elsewhere, the trio is stealing a motorcycle. It's Vinny, so it begins. Poor Vinny, looking in shock and horror at Lex. They wreck the bike and a fireball. Very impressive. What were you saying about being good for the city, Maza? And I put the little gif of Tony Stark. I think I did okay. Explosions in the background. In Central Park, Goliath and Elisa wrap up their date by strolling through the trees. Goliath is a ray of pitch black, with his statements about how the city is savage. Maza is still playing public relations specialist for New York City. It's not so bad. Moms sing to their kids, after all. What does this even mean? So, when moms stop singing to their kids, the world ends in fire? Go join 21 Pilots. And there's the link to the song. It's the 21 Pilots Stressed Out. Here's Elisa trying to be bright. A cop and a New Yorker. How was she an optimist? Too bad for Little Miss Sunshine. The commandos from the castle are back. They aren't playing around either. If you expected a repeat of the last battle, or one of the usual superhero kicking cannon fodder butt scenes, you're about to get the opposite. These guys are prepared. They shoot Goliath with a tranq dart. That's never good. What's the dose for a Garg? Then a pack of them grab Goliath, while another takes Elisa and pins her arms. The leader of the group, Bruno, draws his handgun. At over halfway through the 5 Foundation eps, it's time for the villains to step up their game. Well now, this is all very unexpected. Has the last mom stopped singing to her kid? We'll have to wait till next time to find out. To be continued. Next time, commandos chase Elisa in the park in broad daylight. A boathouse explodes. Goliath is in an airship. The trio attack a tower. Goliath's second-in-command/lover appears. You know, I realize they put these trailers in there to make you watch the next episode, but if watching the episode you just watched isn't enough, I don't think spoiling the next one is going to help. Just my opinion. Final thoughts. This episode accomplished its purpose. It pushed the plot forward by giving the clan a new quest. Then it showed the clan acclimating to the new world. Yeah, they didn't anticipate much. Other series would have jumped right to the meat, to the retrieval of the data from the 3 Cyberbiotics installations. I'll talk about them later. But Greg and his crew knew better. They slowed their roll to allow us to get to know the characters and see how unfamiliar they are with the new world. This increases our sympathy for them. It also will be a great way to explain why they're supposedly an easy mark for certain antagonists. What did you think of this ep? Comment. And check out the next ep. That would be the continuation. No, wait, that's episode 4. We just did the continuation. And you can either watch the video or read the blog or do both. But do remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next